Today we are here with Jack Snyder. Jack, how's it going?
Doing good. How about you?
Doing good. Let's start off at the beginning of your football career. When and why did you start playing football?
So I started playing football when I was in fifth grade. Um, Football. My parents signed me up for like all the sports basically as soon as I was old enough to play. But football was actually the first sport where I went to them and told them I wanted to play it after spending some time like out in the yard at lunch in at school, just playing football with my friends. I thought it was a lot of fun, and then I've been playing since I was in fifth grade.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what made you choose offensive line? Were you always an offensive lineman?
No, so when I played in middle school, I played a lot of positions, but I was mostly a defensive end, and then I played a little wide receiver too, actually. Um, and then in high school, I played defensive end and O line my freshman year, and a little bit of tight end, and then I moved to O. I got pulled up to varsity my sophomore year, and have basically just been an offensive lineman since then.
Yeah, and then speaking of high school, I know you went to Marion Catholic. Are you also aware that Jared Goff went to Marion Catholic as well?
I am, yeah. We actually spent a year as teammates. His senior year was my sophomore year of high school.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, do you
Yeah.
have a relationship with him? Did he shoot you a text when you kind of came into the league?
Yeah. He texted me after I signed with the Rams, just congratulating me and just said like reach out if I ever needed anything. So he's a cool guy. I was a sophomore when he was a senior, so we weren't necessarily like the best of friends, but he's definitely been a good guy whenever we've talked and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then, moving to San Jose, how do you feel, the coaches and the program kind of prepared you for going into the league?
Yeah, I think I had a pretty like special opportunity of getting to play since my freshman year. So even including COVID, I was like a 5 year starter basically. Um, and so I think just them having trust in me when I was so young, and I think that helped me a lot early on in my career. And then the last couple of years, I feel like Josh Oglesby, my offensive line coach, he really kind of helped me take that next step in my game the last couple of years.
Yeah, and then you departed there as the record holder for the most starts and games played. What do you
Yeah.
think that experience, helps bring to the table for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best way to get better at football is playing in games. Obviously, practice is a good time to improve your skills, but you get better the fastest actually playing in live games, in my opinion. So I think just having that many games under my belt kind of definitely gives me an advantage. Helps me like see the game faster and stuff like that.
Yeah. And then what tape in college do you feel like people should watch to see what kind of player you are?
I feel like I played pretty well against San Diego State both of the last 2 years. I feel like I had good games against them, and they're a pretty good defense too. So that's one of the ones I'm proud of.
And just moving on to the Shrine Bowl, tell me about, the practice, your overall experience that week. What was that like going to Vegas?
Yeah, that was an awesome experience. I got along with all the offensive linemen there, super great. We have a group chat that we still text in here and there. Um, and that week was my first time like play like full time like being an interior guy. So it was a little bit of an adjustment period for me at first. Because I played tackle all of college, but I feel like I picked it up pretty quickly, especially after the first day. I felt a lot more comfortable there, which kind of gave me a better idea of what to expect being an interior guy now with the Rams. So it was definitely a very helpful week, and getting to go against like some of the best players in college football is always going to make you better too.
Yeah. And then what's some of the best pieces of advice you received from the coaches there?
Just come in and work whenever you get wherever you're going to go, because a lot of people a lot of people who end up not making it get drafted or signed as a free agent and think that they've made it, but that's really just the start. That's like when the work actually begins. Get your playbook, study the install the night before, like the meeting, so that you already like pretty much know everything that you're going to be taught the next day. Stay extra, take care of your body, stuff like that. Just kind of be a pro is some like the best advice I've gotten.
Yeah. And then tell me more about, being a student athlete. I know you're pursuing your master's degree in urban planning, correct?
Yeah, I got my master's. I
Oh,
finished that.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so tell me more about what it was like to be a student athlete, especially during COVID, like the challenges you must have faced there.
Yeah, it's a lot. Especially I never really struggled too much when I was doing my undergrad. But once I got to grad school and the assignments got longer, and there was more reading and stuff like that, I kind of found myself having to be a lot more efficient with my time. Um, like I finished up my thesis, which was I think like 20,000 words in like 85 pages, I want to say. So doing that was definitely that was a grind. And just like being able to balance that with football and working out and stuff can be hard, but as long as you stay on top of it, which I feel like I did a pretty good job of, it doesn't really get too overwhelming.
Yeah, for sure. And
I'm
then,
definitely be done with school now, though.
yeah. And are there any NFL players you watch, and you model your game after?
Yeah. So being a tackle, um, all of college, I mostly watched tackles. Lane Johnson and Teron Armstead were two guys that I watched a decent amount of film on. I feel like I when I was playing tackle at San Jose, I feel like I had a similar playing style to Lane Johnson, so I like to watch him a lot and kind of just see like the small things that he would do. And I actually had the opportunity to meet him last summer and be able to like talk to him one on one about some stuff, which I thought was pretty helpful. And yeah, and then since I've been with the Rams, I've really just been watching a lot of Rams films. So Dave Edwards, Brian Allen, Corbs from last year, and then yeah, those guys put a lot of good film out there for me to watch and learn from. So
Yeah. And then speaking of tackles, did you get the experience to talk to Andrew Whitworth?
yeah, I've talked to him a couple times. He came to I think two practices during OTAs, and then we were actually at the rookies were at the same event as him. We all went to one of the LAFC games together. So I've been able to talk to him a couple times. Anyone who's played as long as him, especially at offensive line, just anything you can get from them is invaluable. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And then moving on to kind of working up towards signing, what's something that you're still trying to work on?
Um, so I've actually been working on snapping, you know, being a tackle. My whole career in college, it's definitely different than the interior, but there's not a major difference between tackle and guard. Like like mentally at least, but playing center and like just like focusing on snapping before like you start blocking and stuff like that is probably the biggest thing I've been working on. Just be consistent with my snaps.
Yeah, that's great. I know the Rams definitely value versatility in players, so you're doing the right thing there.
Yeah.
And then did the Rams show any interest in you, post draft? Like how quickly did that deal get done?
Yeah, it was pretty quick. I think the literally like the second that the last pick was made, I was on the phone with Coach Carbs, um, basically just locking in and getting ready to sign with them. I think that the Rams was a great situation for me, and really just a good opportunity where I like because as a free agent, there are a lot of times where guys don't necessarily go to the best situation. They take into account other factors, but I was really just looking at the football and the opportunity, and I felt like the Rams was definitely the best place for me. So I was super excited that that Coach Carbs and their staff liked me.
Yeah, and then as a California native, going to high school in California, college in California, and now playing pro football in the California, what's that like?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like I can't escape. I was mentally prepared to be off in the cold or go like super far away from home, but then it ended up just working out that I have a bunch of family down in LA, so it's like I'm still around a bunch of family. I've got a lot of people in my corner, and I've actually been able to see some family more than I normally do, which has been cool. But it, honestly, that didn't really factor into my decision, but it's just kind of a happy added benefit that I have.
Yeah. And then what was your experience like at OTAs? Tell me about, just that whole couple weeks, what that was like.
Yeah, that was definitely a big learning experience for me. Because that was when the rookies started learning the playbook. So just studying every night, wake up in the morning, review everything before practice, and then actually being able to practice like as a pro was pretty cool. I feel like I learned a lot from not only the coaching staff but the other players too, because these vets, like, if they wanted to, they could all be coaches. They understand the game so well. So just taking things from them and just trying to improve as much as I can every day. It was definitely an awesome experience.
Yeah. Now we're done with all the serious ones. Now we're moving on to some fun ones and then some fan questions I got here for you.
Okay,
So
cool.
who is your all-time favorite Ram?
All-time favorite Ram. Um, I would probably say Kurt Warner. I think the greatest show on turf. Just seeing some of those like NFL documentaries about that team, like that. I think he was really there, and that type of stuff was really cool.
Yeah, that was a great choice. And then what NFL team, if any, was your favorite growing up?
I grew up a Patriots fan. Um, Being from the Bay Area, that might sound a little weird. But, my neighborhood growing up was very close, and we would all watch the games together every Sunday. My next door neighbor was from Massachusetts and is a diehard Patriots fan. So basically, anyone who didn't already have a favorite team just became Patriots fans in our neighborhood.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, now you're on the team that got beat by them in 2 Super Bowls. So
I wasn't quite old enough to watch those ones, but yeah, it's okay though. I'm definitely a Rams fan now.
there we go. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
So now just moving on to some questions from the fans. We have one that says, to play at your level, what was your diet and training regimen like? And was it similar to the rest of the offensive line?
Yeah, I'm pretty heavy now. I'm like 315 now, but I'm a pretty naturally skinny person. So once I really wanted to commit to like playing offensive line and being the best player I could be, I had to eat a lot of food and work out a lot. Um, I've gained like 50 pounds in a year, more than like I think twice in my life. I went from 160 to like, or I went from like 170 to like 220 in high school between my sophomore and junior year. And then I went from 240 to 290 my first year at San Jose. So I was eating like 6,500 calories a day, working out twice a day. It was pretty intense. And it's funny, people like when I would tell people my diet, they would be like, "Oh, that's awesome! Like you can just eat whatever you want." And it sounds great, but when you're I was basically like full, like 24/7 for like at least a year of my life, and it's not quite as fun eating all that food when it's like you have to eat it. It's not just like eating what you want when you want to. It's like I have to eat this many calories today, like whether I'm hungry or not. I gotta figure out a way to get this down.
Yeah, you're not just pounding the in and out all the time.
Yeah, I did mix in a pretty good amount of in and out, but yeah,
Yeah,
gotta.
it's one of those things that, is good in concept, not really in execution.
Yeah, exactly.
And then what are your expectations for the coming season? Is there any games you're excited for this year?
There's not really one in particular. I would honestly just say the first preseason game I'm looking forward to the most, because it'll be my first opportunity to kind of play again since I was in the East West game. And really, I've only really played one football game since last November. So I'm just excited to get back on the field. So I would just kind of just take it one week at a time. So honestly, I would just say the first preseason game is the one I'm most excited for right now.
Yeah, and then Coach McVay loves to play, starters and kind of not doesn't like to play starters, loves to play some guys, that can kind of audition for their part on the team. So that's your chance to shine.
Yeah. That was another thing that went into the reasoning of really liking the Rams, because I would have more of an opportunity in the preseason games to play than at some other places where the starters play a lot. So
Yeah. And then what do you like to do on your off time that helps you relax and stay happy off the field?
I've been watching a lot of Netflix lately. The new Stranger Things, the last 2 episodes actually just came out today. I'm really excited to watch that. Um, but yeah, just watch a TV show, I listen to a few podcasts. Just kind of, it's like physically relaxing, but still keep my brain like mentally occupied. Like that kind of thing is kind of my go-to like relaxation, I would say.
Yeah, that's great. Hot wings with blue cheese or ranch?
I'm a ranch guy.
You're
Blue cheese is gross to me. I'm definitely a ranch
What's your impression of Coach McVay? How has the experience been interacting with others?
guy. Coach McVay is just as smart, if not smarter, than the public perception of him is. Everyone talks about his like photographic memory and like remembering every play and just like being able to explain and understand all the concepts he's teaching so well. But being able to see it firsthand is just kind of like next level. Like he was helping the offensive line like install a screen, and he was like, "Hey Rob, like, do you remember this play against Baltimore where like you did like?" He basically like explained how a play turned out, and then we pulled up the film, and it was like the exact play, like everything that he described happened exactly. And so just kind of seeing that firsthand, it's like, wow, this guy is like a legit like football genius. So just having the opportunity to be around him is something that I don't take advantage or I don't take for granted. Um, and then what was the second part of the question?
Yeah, how has the experience been interacting with other like your teammates?
The guys have been awesome. Honestly, they've been almost like more helpful and like nicer than I expected at first, because everyone talks about how cutthroat the NFL is and how like you're all competing with each other for like your livelihood. But I came in, and the O line especially has been super welcoming to all three rookies. Um, and I get along with all the guys great. Joke around in the locker room and stuff like that. It's been a pretty awesome experience so far.
Yeah, and then is there any significance of your numbers? You won in college and now you're on with the Rams. Obviously, 55 was taken by Brian Allen.
Yeah, honestly, I was just assigned 64. No complaints from me. I'll take whatever jersey they want to give me as long as I have a jersey.
Yeah. What's it like being drafted to the reigning Super Bowl champs, knowing the bar has been set really high for the team?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty awesome opportunity because it's obviously difficult to go back to back, but I was lucky enough to come into a team that has like that knows what it takes to win a Super Bowl. So there are plenty of teams that haven't been there in a while or haven't won one in a while, and so to go to the team that just won it is definitely a good opportunity, just within the culture and stuff like that of the whole organization, because everyone knows like, hey, what we did last year works, and so they're obviously not going to do everything the exact same, but for the most part, they're like the team knows things that work and things that don't, and so just kind of having that experience within the team, even though I wasn't on that team last year, is definitely an added benefit, big time.
Yeah, you hear a lot of people speak about the Rams culture, what Sean McVay brought to Los Angeles. Is there any, proof that you've seen of that culture?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's definitely um like it's very like welcoming. It's not like the crazy like cutthroat NFL that everyone hears about. It's definitely a really impressive, honestly, culture that has been built with all these, because especially with Coach McVay being a little bit on the younger side, and so like last year, like Andrew Whitworth was older than he was, and to like get all these guys to buy into like his culture that he's trying to get us to do is it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. And then another thing that's I don't think is talked about enough is the sports training, medical staff on the team. Have you found, that that's kind of better, or it's kind of a new perspective on health?
Yeah, it's definitely different than college. They're very like, it's like no one's gonna be like pushed to like play when they're hurt, because it's at least right now, at least in OTAs, like there's no reason to risk hurting something worse than to like miss a day or two of OTAs. So they do a really good job of taking care of all of our bodies, providing all the opportunity to do like our recovery and stuff after workouts or after practice. But yeah, it's definitely kind of a next level medical staff from what I've seen so far.
Yeah. And then it says San Jose State alum here, go Spartans. Do you
Yep.
find that not coming from a traditional football power has helped or hurt you as a pro so far? Are you comfortable flying under the radar, or do you feel the need to go out and earn respect?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's helped me football wise because I was able to play for so long. You know, if I had gone to a bigger school, it's not likely that I would have been able to play for 5 years. So I think gaining that experience definitely helped me a ton, which I don't know if I would have got at a bigger school. Um, and then in terms of like the respect, you know, I can't really like jump in those conversations between guys that went to like Georgia or Alabama talking about like playing in national championships. But I feel like I definitely made the right decision going to San Jose State, and it definitely paid off for me big time.
Yeah. This person said, "Hey, Zack Snyder." Do you ever get that confused, with the director Zack Snyder?
I get honestly, I think it's more the other way around where people
Really?
call Zack Snyder Jack Snyder on accident. My during the East West game, I was trying to find like a clip of me from practice on Twitter, and so I would like search my name on Twitter, and a bunch of stuff about like Justice League came up, and I was like, oh, these guys messed it up a little bit, but yeah, it doesn't happen too often, but
Yeah, I said, "Do you think football will still be the most popular American sport in 100 years?"
100 years,
Long
I
time.
I would say yeah. I think that football it's just growing, you know, more and more. Like it's just an American thing right now, really. Like, and I think that there's a big opportunity for it to kind of grow internationally, not just in America. Um, so if I had to guess, I would say yeah, it'll still be super popular 100 years from now.
Then, do touchdown dances have a protocol? Is it up to the touchdowner if he says, "If I score, it goes down like this," or is it team based? Next time we score, we're doing that.
So I don't. At the pro level, celebrating touchdowns is different than college, obviously, because you're allowed to do more. So I don't really know yet, to be honest. I would guess it's mostly up to the guy who scores. I actually did score 2 touchdowns at San Jose. Um, One was like a tackle throwback to me that I ran in, and then I recovered a fumble in the end zone, and I hit the Heisman pose real quick after both. But I still have to figure out what it's like in the NFL, what the celebration, what the planning's like, or if it's just kind of winging it once you score.
Yeah. Hot dogs or hamburgers?
I would probably go burgers. I'm a big cheeseburger guy.
Yeah. And then, how has the vibe been in the facilities during OTAs? Who are some of the top locker room leaders? That's a good one.
The vibes were great from what I experienced. I would definitely say, you know, Rob Havenstein's one of the leaders. Matthew Stafford definitely, and then like having Bobby Wagner is definitely awesome too. You know, just having such a good and experienced player like him, just be able to step in and kind of be that leader that he was in Seattle for so long already here is pretty cool too.
Yeah. And then this next slide goes Big Jack, SGSU legend. Had some classes with him my time there. Ask him what his favorite bar in San Jose is.
Um, I've probably got to give a shout out to SB2 in San Pedro Square. I got a lot of buddies who work there, spend a lot of time there, and it's always a fun time at SP2.
What is his plan to improve so he can make the 53-man roster? What players or coaches has he spoken to who have helped him build a plan to be indispensable?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just kind of take the coaching that I've gotten from OTAs and just keep working on that every day. Because with offensive line, there are like little small things here and there that are kind of different from like things you were taught before. And so just kind of mastering all the new concepts is my biggest thing. And I feel like Coleman Shelton, Dave Edwards, and Rob Havenstein have all been super helpful with kind of like showing the rookies like the right stuff to do to kind of be indispensable, like you were saying.
Yeah. If you were in an action movie with one teammate, who would you partner up with and why?
What was that again? Sorry.
If you were in an action movie with one teammate, who would you partner up with and why?
An action movie. That's
Yeah.
good. I don't know. Like what type of, like, we're talking
We're talking like Top Gun, like one of those kind of action.
I think I might have to go with Cooper Cup on that one, just because I feel like he's the type of guy who's like good at everything. So he would be a good guy to have by my side.
There you go. What has been the biggest challenge learning the offense? I know the Rams offense has a lot of moving parts, a lot of concepts that look the same, but are slightly different.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of terminology that's different than what I've known in the past, but honestly, it's all similar concepts. So as long as it's kind of like learning a new language almost, where you just have to like translate in your head, like, oh, this new call means like this. What is this old play that we had at San Jose? So it's honestly just a lot of like translating things rather than actually having to like learn an entirely new concept.
Yeah, and then finishing up the fan questions, have you been able to block Aaron Donald yet?
I went. So he was only there for minicamp. He wasn't at OTAs. But I did go against him once in a drill that was like not even like a half speed drill. Like it was basically just like a walkthrough, and he was going full speed. Um, so it was definitely once he kind of showed up at mini camp, you could kind of tell there was almost like a different like electricity in the air almost. He's super well respected around the organization. Before he was there, everyone would always just talk about like how hard he worked in the weight room and on the field. And so it was definitely cool to kind of be able to say like, yeah, I've gone against him, but at the end of the day, he's one of my teammates now. And I'm definitely glad that I would definitely prefer blocking him in practice versus in games, with how great he is. But it's also being able to go against someone like that is a good opportunity to improve myself too. So
For sure. Well, that was it. That's all I got for you today. Thank you very much for coming on.
yeah, of course.
To be updated every time a new episode of the podcast drops, you can follow me at Football by Nico on Twitter. Thanks so much for listening.